today's video we will be taking a look at these two guitars, or like a little bit like comparing these two guitars. This is a 2009 ESP Standard Series Eclipse, and this is a 2015, I think, ESP LTD Iron Cross, the James Hetfield signature. So obviously these are pretty similar looking guitars, or like at least in terms of like body shape, pretty similar guitars. So I will be like comparing these two and seeing what the differences are. So let's just start with like a general overview of these guitars. So the ESP Eclipse is obviously inspired by the Gibson Les Paul custom design, with its dark body color, ebony fretboard, white triple binding and golden hardware. I personally really like this contrast between the black and the gold. It makes the guitar look really like royal. The tuners are like a crown on its head. So on the other side, so here we get the locking Godot tuners. I will come back to that a little bit later. We get a gloss finished neck, and the whole back is black. We have a mahogany body, no binding in the back, a little belly carve there. So in general, I just think it's a really cool design and looks very elegant and timeless, a classic design. The fretboard, ebony fretboard is really dark, and we have this beautiful pearl flag inlays. We have EMG 81 and EMG 60 pickups, 2 volume knobs, 2 tone knobs, and a 2 pneumatic bridge. The LTD Iron Cross has the black and white theme with many of the same features as the Eclipse. A dark fretboard with pearly white flag inlays. We get the black hardware this time and this cool cross at the bottom, and also these stripes on the front. There's also these dual pickup switches which confuse us. We get 2 volume knobs and a single tone knob, and we get this triple black binding with this like antique white side color to distinguish from the more general white. On the back we get ESP branded locking tuners, a gloss neck, and the same binding as on the front. While setting up the guitars, I unfortunately noticed that the truss rod adjustment of the Iron Cross is out of reach for the tools that I currently have. You can see here that the hex socket head is really quite deep in there, so that's a shortcoming in that design. And as for the Eclipse, adjusting the truss rod is effortless. So talking about the Iron Cross, I of course have to mention the pickup switching situation. So this one has been disabled, and this is the functioning one. And a clear like plus side for this is that like when you're like strumming your chords here, it's basically guaranteed that you're not going to like accidentally hit this switch. But on the other hand, like well, I don't know if you see, but the switch is not on the same plane as the strings. So like if you want to switch to pickup, you have to like a little bit curve your hand down like this, and maybe for like more like intricate style of music, if you want to like in the middle of your phrase change to pickup, maybe for that kind of music it's not really that optimal. Of course, with this kind of guitar you're gonna play like Metallica style music, and for that kind of music I think it's a decent choice. So geometrically these two guitars are obviously pretty similar. Like, most notable difference is maybe this horn cut here. Like here it's a little bit deeper horn cut. We have the same like belly cut on the back, and also both of these have this like curved top. But I think like one downside of this guitar is that here the top like here like very slightly goes like down, and like a little bit you know, when you're playing it, a little bit digs into your forearm, and like here I think this is like a little bit less. Like here it's like not as much carved like downwards. So very slight difference in the like top carve. The neck profiles are like fairly similar, but I think like here it's like the Iron Cross, it's maybe like slightly flatter. Maybe it's like a little bit like a D profile here and a little bit like a C profile here. So here it's definitely very like round profile. But, well, both of these have like very like slim necks, of course. And like, let's be honest, like unless you compare these two like side to side, it would be hard to notice these kinds of differences. Okay, then it's time for actual playing tests and sound tests. We'll start with just like the clean tone, and what I've noticed now, like playing these two like against each other, I've noticed that the main difference in the sound comes mainly in the neck pickup. Playing clean, here we have the MG16, and here is the James Hetfield EMGs. And I think on here on the Eclipse, the clean tone is like, especially the high end of the clean tone is like slightly clearer and maybe like slightly pokey, whereas on the Iron Cross it's a little bit like natural sounding and maybe smoother. So let's hear how they sound. The next sound demo is you know, heavy metal riffs. I will be playing like Metallica riffs, etc. And here it already becomes close to impossible to tell the sounds of these two guitars apart. You know, when you have tons of distortion, and also like just playing these riffs feels pretty much similar on this. I didn't notice that one would be like easier or more comfortable than the other. So in this kind of situation, the experience is, for me, it's basically the same. here are my final thoughts about these two guitars. Both of these are absolute riff monsters. When you're playing like heavy riffs with this, there's only like a slight difference in the sound. As I stated before, the Eclipse has a slightly clearer and pokier sound, but in general, you know, the quality is there, the playability is there, and I would say that how well these guitars play, how well they, you know, ring out, how well they sing. I think it's at the same level. Playing comfort is also very similar. Both of the fretboards feel really nice, although I would say that on the Eclipse, the like real ebony fretboard makes it feel like more higher quality. Fretwork is impeccable in both of these. There are absolutely no like sharp edges or sharp frets, so good job, ESP. The weight, as for weight, this is a little bit chunkier, you know, due to the like little bit wider neck profile, and also it does weigh slightly more. Tuning stability is very good on both. After playing hours and days with this, I noticed that the tuning stability is still slightly better on the Eclipse, but it is still very good on the Iron Cross. This locking mechanism on the Eclipse is slightly tricky, and you have to like a little bit learn how to use it. But on the other hand, the like LTD branded tuners of the Iron Cross, they work very intuitively. As for the paint job and finish, I think it's just better with the Eclipse. Like every little detail has been done perfectly here, and there are some like small imperfections in the paint job and binding of the Iron Cross. You know, things that are maybe done better on the Eclipse, and these are of course like visual differences that don't affect playability. In the end, the biggest differences between these two are subliminal. It's how the finish feels in your hand. It's the texture of the gloss finish. It's the little details in the paint job and binding that just make the Eclipse feel more like a premium product. But as musicians' tools, as instruments, they both do their job really well. So that's everything for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.